Hello and welcome back to Ears to the East. And Neon, do you notice anything different?
You shaved?
That's the one thing I didn't do. No,
I wasn't
If you
talking. I
needed it
wasn't
for
talking
anything,
about
that
your
was
face.
well. That's a Patreon only question. I think you'll find
Ooh.
no Patreons. Well, we're doing part two of our little game that started with us asking questions about. I was asking you questions to see what your general knowledge was like about Love Bites. You were asking me questions about BABYMETAL. And part two, we decided was I was going to ask you questions about BABYMETAL, and you were going to ask me questions about TRiDENT. So I came prepped. I got my
With the
TRiDENT shirt.
background, I love how it took him 20 minutes to like do all those pictures, and then in between recording of this video, it's literally we've had like an hour and a half freaking just like sideways conversation about like past music. Like, now we're recording.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like this became like a much more of a thing. But yeah, so for anyone wondering, obviously, we record these videos sequentially. So we've actually just an hour or so ago got finished recording part one. And as you'll know from that, that means that our questions are slightly mixed in that we came up with this idea pretty quickly. And so I chose all of my questions to Neon to be almost like trivia questions to see what he knows. And he was just like thinking of nice little questions about my fandom of my favorite bands. So there's a little bit of a bias. But either way, we're both going to be asking questions, 5 questions each about the two bands. We've only got 40 minutes on our free trial of Zoom, as always.
As always.
Episodes to a nice tight length. So we'll get diving straight in. Who's going to ask the first question, me or you, sir?
Well, you went first last time, so I'll do the first lead on this one.
Okay.
So the first question is actually TRiDENT was obviously a relatively new formed band with 3 members, and they were originally formed from the visual K band Versailles. Am I saying that right?
They were formed from Versailles?
Or sorry, they were formed from members of Versailles. Have I butchered that? I think I may have butchered that. Apparently, a Google search said they were formed from Versailles, so I rolled with it as one of my questions.
Wait a minute. I'm loving the way
Yeah,
this
we're
is
gonna
going.
have to.
Oh no, we're not deleting this. Okay.
Oh
This is staying in.
no.
This is staying in, motherfucker.
No.
Are you thinking of the Japanese band TRiDENT, or are you thinking that
Mate, I just Googled. My
I
knowledge
really
of
don't know about TRiDENT.
No, my knowledge of
sure.
TRiDENT is like literally minimal, so I don't know anything. So I Googled, oh right, what was the history of TRiDENT? And I was like, Versailles? I was like, I'm sure they're like completely different, but I was like, oh, I'll roll with it. Apparently, this little segment I read quickly, like with the 20 minutes prep time that you gave me, said that they were originally formed from band members of Versailles. So,
do you know what I love about this? This whole episode has changed tone now. This is now going to be, have I got enough general knowledge to correct your Google searches? That's what this episode has become. All right, so I was like, you started with Visual K. I was like, wait a minute. And then you said Versailles. I was like, wait a minute.
So this is what happens when he turns around and then Howard goes, I've got a great idea. I'm going to give you 20 minutes prep time.
Well, Neon, I had the same 20 minutes. The difference is I already know the bands I'm asking you about.
I know.
All right. So given that this has now become me as the tour guide, please complete your question in the original form and I will see what I can do with it. This is going to be great.
Basically, I Googled this and I worded my answer. How do you feel about the TRiDENT's musical style and direction compared to that of Versailles? That's what I was trying to get to from the original band, because I did a Google search and apparently they were some of the original members of Versailles.
This is going to be the best episode we've ever done. All right, I want to be clear because I just Googled the band Versailles, who obviously I've heard of. They are a famous visual K band, and they've been active since 2007. Which makes them over 10 years longer in existence than Girls Rock Band Kakume, the actual band that came before TRiDENT. Now, Neon also told me that a lot of his questions are based on the band that TRiDENT were before they were TRiDENT. So I get the feeling we're going to have a lot of Versailles. I thought you were talking about Girls Rock Band Kakume, which is the band that actually came before TRiDENT. All right. So how do I feel about TRiDENT? I'm going to try and rescue these questions. Let's go. All right. So This is brilliant. This is brilliant. Okay. Can the real Neon Shady please stand up? There we go.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So no, this is the content we need. Don't worry. More of our all right. So I think that when I first heard TRiDENT in the form of Girls Rock Band Kakame, which is what you were talking about, I must admit, so we originally did reactions to them back when they were Girls Rock Band Kakame. And I remember it came up over and over again. What I said is, this band has so much potential, but it doesn't quite click yet. Like there were some songs I was listening to, I was like, it's good, but something's missing. And I would always say that about Girls Rock Band Kakame. I was like, nearly. It's like, and I was always like eager to hear what would happen next. And I was introduced to them back in 2019. Then in 2020, they became TRiDENT. And I'm not sure exactly the order of progress, but they became. I think they became TRiDENT before. Yeah, so Juno was still in the group, and then they became TRiDENT with Nagisa and everything. But for me, it's been kind of okay. There was a big change when they became TRiDENT in that they became a 3-piece. From the 4-piece, they became a 3-piece. Yes, you start researching quickly. You do that. So they became. I'm giving you time.
I'm trying to find the Google search now to see why the fuck that's giving me what it has.
I love it. I love it. And when they became a 3-piece, yes, it changed a lot, but I think it refocused them. And then I know a lot of people around the time when Nagisa joined, a lot of people were like, oh, Juno was better. But I've always descended, in my opinion, I think that Nagisa is the better band drummer. She fits the band better. She works well in the arrangement, whereas Juno's a big virtuoso. To me, it just feels like every change, becoming TRiDENT, having Nagisa join, is all helped on what was already happening, which is their writing becoming more complete, them sounding tighter, them getting their sound together. And it's just been like a smooth progression. So although there have been landmark moments, like the joining of Nagisa, the changing of the band name, I feel like it's all been one smooth progression, and they carry on that progression. And this is one of the reasons why I keep on tipping them, why I'm such a big fan, is because I just feel like it's a non-stop, furious progression in the correct direction. I hope you've had time to research that, because we've got to move on to our next question, which is directed at you now.
Yeah, no, I haven't, so I'm still doing it, but ask me the question anyway.
All right, so I'm asking you BABYMETAL questions. I'll start, as with my previous one, I got like difficult and easy ones. I'm going to start with an easy one. So the question was, when BABYMETAL was officially announced, what was her job title described as? So that's the trivia element, and then we can discuss a little bit about that. When BABYMETAL was announced at the show, what was her official job description that they announced?
Dance and scream, wasn't it? Or,
yeah, dance and scream.
I had to remember the scream part, but I know it was dance. I was torn whether or not it was dance and scream or just dance, but yeah, dance and scream.
They didn't mention kabuki vocals, which is actually the first thing that she's delivered on a BABYMETAL recording, is kabuki vocals, as I'm going to call them. I know that's not the proper terminology, but I'm going to call them kabuki vocals. So she's delivered kabuki vocals and dance, but she's done the scream in the live parts. How do you feel about that? I mean, are you pro her becoming a full-time backing screamer or a backing singer or a kabuki full-timer?
Well, just any vocals on a track actually would be good for me. I've said this a long time now. Same with Moa. Any more vocals we get from either of them two, I feel like is only a positive thing. So yeah, I'm more pro Momoko and Moa singing, screaming, kabuki, freaking whatever it is they want to do, gurgling water. It could be fantastic. I think it would be brilliant.
I would say that might be where I draw the line, if they just like start going. Excuse me, what? Okay. Do you want to ask me the next question about that?
Yeah, go on. I'm gonna have to like seriously rewrite half my fucking questions here.
Well, you're on a time limit. What's the next question you've got for me? I love that this is a whole new aspect to the video I wasn't expecting.
I know. Google has seriously let me down here. You know what the worst part is as well is I'm googling that again and it's coming up with a completely different fucking thing. So I'm wondering what the fuck I did wrong the first time to get that fucking result.
You were trying TRiDENT Japan, something like that. That might I tried.
All right, anyway, okay. So we'll do it on this one, which is like the one I don't have to be right.
Okay.
As a fan of Trident, what do you hope to see from the band in the future, both in terms of the musical evolution and their impact?
I love that. That's just about
That was
specific
supposed to be
enough to
my
be
ending
interesting.
question to end this
Okay.
episode on, but I've had to like use it now because
This video has got such an extra layer of tension that I didn't expect. It's brilliant. Okay. So okay, in regards to the direction, I'm kind of curious. I think with Trident, the whole thing I've said is that what's so cool is that within rock, they've done so many different things. You know, they've really filled out the sound of rock. But I've always kind of been pointing to the comparison that although they're very different bands, Trident and Bandmate, to me, I would listen to both those bands in very similar moods. They both kind of have a similar feel of being hard rock bands with like so much more. But one of the things that makes Bandmate more accomplished at this point is the fact that they've done a lot of songs that are not rock at all, just kind of like almost like flexes, like, yep, we can deliver a ballad here and this, there. And like, so yeah, try and have some slow songs, but I would like to see them occasionally use their talent to drop something that isn't rock at all and just kind of like flex a little bit in that direction. I mean, certainly the girls' rock band Kekame phase showed that they could do stuff that was a bit poppier. But I'm not saying they have to do poppy songs, but I just like to see them occasionally step outside of rock altogether, just because they can. And you know, they're obviously not scared of using additional background sounds in their arrangement. They've done that with a lot of digital effects sounds and stuff. So throwing in something like where they do a song with strings or something like that, and it's like a, you know, totally outside of their ballpark. I think, you know, they've got quite a lot of records at the moment, but their CDs and albums are mostly like mini. They've got one album, but like mostly mini albums. So I still think they're building up their body of work and building up their body of fan base, building up their fan base. So as a result, they might be not quite at the point where they want to do that yet, but they've managed to expand and grow so much. That's where I would like to see them go next. Impact wise, I don't think they've got. I mean, they're a good looking band, but they, you know, there's a lot of good looking bands out there. I don't think they've got like an image thing that necessarily is going to grab people's attention in the way that Bandmate does. And sometimes you need that commercial image where people look at you and immediately go, oh, I want to know what that is. I think Trident quite have that. So I don't know if they're ever going to be able to have like the massive breakout success, but I think a lot like bands like Scandal, they'll be able to just build up through like just constantly releasing good quality music. I think by word of mouth, they're going to snowball a fan base over time. So yeah, I just hope they maintain the feeling of freedom. They don't feel trapped into being one type of band, but they maintain the feeling that they can do whatever they want. That's what I hope, really, because that certainly creativity and variety in writing is what has set them apart up to this point, as well as great musicianship, which again is what I feel is a good comparison between them and Bandmate. Was that a suitable answer?
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Have you any opinions on that, or were you using that time for further research?
I was using that time for further research. So like it's like the one time I'm like, yeah, just waffle on as long as you can while I quickly like Google the shit out of everything. Although at the minute I don't trust Google, so.
All right, well, I've got like I've still got 4 more questions to ask you, haven't I? Because you went first. All right, so I'll jump in the next one. This one's more of like, this is a bit of a random one. So as a child, Suzuka sang in a duo group with her sister Himeka. So my original question when I was doing this as a trivia thing is I was going to ask you, do you know the name of that group? But now I just want to know as well, have you seen that group? Have you got any opinions on that? Like when she like first did her like trial things, just singing with her sister.
I actually haven't seen that stuff. No, that's actually surprising to me. I've seen the stuff that she's done with her dad, which he was.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he was like a punk in a punk band, I believe. So I would love to see Suzuka do something along those lines, like maybe as like a throwaway little nod to like her dad and stuff like that and what her dad used to do. I have no idea if her dad's band was popular by any means, but I again, this is for fans that go way deeper than I do, but that research all this stuff. But from what they told me, he had a nice little band that did relatively quite well. So yeah, I personally I'd like to see a throwaway kind of like a proper like Sue punk song. So
wow. Yeah, I didn't see anything. I'm trying to quick look. I didn't see anything about that, but that's really cool. Anyone in the comments who wants to tell us more, because that's obviously like one of those little, like you say, fan facts that people might know. Yeah, apparently they had a group which was called Tween, her and her sister, which is an amusing name. But
Yeah, no.
what do you feel about? Because I didn't know that aspect about her dad, but that feeling about groups, like, well, not groups, singers. We've talked about it briefly in videos before, but the whole thing about her basically being a singer from that age, do you think that's kind of like had an effect on her? Like, because she's, I guess if you grow up with it and it's a good career and you're enjoying yourself, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You've just been set up to succeed. But do you think that's kind of like given her something extra, the fact that she was like set up as a singer from such a young age?
I think that she's had a really, really good progression. I think the way that she's gone through her life and the way that everybody's kind of looked after her. And there's one thing I want to say about Amuse, which is not to everybody's agreement, but the way that they look after their artists relatively, not all the time, but most of the time, it's actually really, really good. They give them quite a lot of freedom and to kind of live their lives as well a little bit more. Which I think has really, really helped. My biggest concern with Sue, as a BABYMETAL fan, is growing up seeing her in like Karen Girls and Sakura Gakure and stuff like that, and seeing those early interviews. Like, she very much was really into the idol scene. Her music preferences was outside of metal. I don't think that she even listened to metal before metal was a thing. So it does make me wonder. I think she's very content and happy to do BABYMETAL. I just wonder if there's ever going to be a point where she might return or maybe give the idol thing a go. I don't think it will ever come to that, to be honest. Not now. I think she's too old for it. But
I think there's also the flip side of that is that, I mean, a lot of the time people read a lot into those early interviews, but the truth is that how much were you into in that at that age that you're still into now? It's like, I mean, in all fairness, it's quite likely she was into it. I'm not saying she isn't into it. I mean, she might still be into it. I mean, I've always postulated, and let's not get too far into this one, but one of the reasons why Yui might have, been okay to not be in BABYMETAL anymore is that she might have like got swept up in the whole thing, but maybe it just wasn't as much her, maybe it wasn't too as much something that she wanted to do as the other two girls. It's entirely plausible. So yeah, I think, and yeah, you can, yeah.
Actually knows who TRiDENT is. You're such a fucking dick.
What was that?
I just seen that. Actually knows who TRiDENT is. Oh, yeah. So that's my worry, that as she grows older, she may like want to dip her hand into stuff like that. I mean, we see it. Yeah, it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing though. We see it all the time, especially like Western artists. You've got like obviously like, I don't know, Corey Taylor, probably the most infamous one. Lead singer of Slipknot. Not everybody listens to Slipknot one, but he's done his other projects and Stone Sour and his solo career and stuff like that, which are drastically different to what he does with with Slipknot. So like I could see kind of Sue maybe trying the same, and maybe trying to branch out and do something that maybe she loves. I mean, because that's the best, that's the worst thing, isn't it? Is like, we all love BABYMETAL, we all want BABYMETAL to go on forever. But it would be nice to see Sue do something that she likes. And now that this is just pure guesswork.
Yeah,
I got no
something
idea.
else that she likes.
Something else that she likes. I got, this is pure guesswork. Like, she could be fully into the metal thing right now. In which case, I'm happy, because that means more BABYMETAL for me. So it's a win-win either way. But it'd be nice to see her do it. Like, something.
I know what you mean. It's kind of like what I was just saying about the TRiDENT thing. Is like, it's okay to do what you want, but we actually like to see you occasionally step outside of your comfort zone. I think some people don't feel comfortable, and I think it's more of a Western thing, but you still get some people like that in Japan, where people don't feel comfortable when their artists step outside of their comfort zone, because they almost feel like, oh, that's not what I came to you for. But the truth is that actually, whether you like it or not, it's okay to listen to something and go, well, I didn't really like that, but I respect you as an artistic person for doing it. And this is why I feel like BABYMETAL has such a defined image that it would be nice occasionally to see them do something different. But anyway, as we're on a timer, shall we move on to the next question? Is it question number 3 for you, I think, is it?
Yeah, it will be. I was Asaka being the lead singer of TRiDENT. Yes, I did just Google that. Ooh, I hope that's right, by the
way. That's the first thing you've said that's right. I like it. Let's go.
What do you make of her vocals, like compared to like other bands that you like Pasco and or other bands in that kind of landscape genre? Do you think she sticks out or?
Actually, Asaka's kind of like been an interesting one because I've heard a lot of different comments on her vocals. I've heard people say that they think she uses too much vocal effect, and there have been times when she's used vocal effect, but I'm kind of okay with that. It's like, effects are effects. We did a whole video about that as well. When it comes to her voice, I've maintained this opinion that I've said before that, every member of TRiDENT is amazingly talented. And the thing about Asaka, which makes her so brilliant, is that she's a fantastic guitarist and a fantastic vocalist. And if she did either of those on their own, I think she would be an attribute to any band. The fact that she can do them both together is amazing. As for her vocals, though, I really like her voice. Yeah, she sings in a slightly deeper sort of register than maybe a lot of the other singers I like, but she also really, it's great because it's that voice where she can both sound powerful and also has like a feminine quality as well. So she can go into those more delicate notes beautifully.
Yeah.
I really, really, really rate her as a singer. And I also think she's perfect as a band singer in that, like, some singers, they're so powerful that it almost becomes hard for the band to not just be identified with their voice. I sometimes feel this way about Unlucky Morpheus. There's so much happening in Unlucky Morpheus that you want everything to stand out, but Fuki's so powerful at the front that it almost doesn't give room for the other things to pop through, because it's just like, Fuki's so powerful, Jill can just slip in because she's a violinist and that's really unique, but it's like, where does everyone else fit in? Sometimes I can feel you get that, and I think like TRiDENT, okay, it benefits that they're a free piece, but just as a singer, she's got a voice. It's not going to be for everyone. The use of effects is not going to be for everyone, but having seen her live, she pulls it off live as well. There are some high notes like at the end of like Cry Out, where that's a difficult note. And I've seen her do that live where like the two times I've seen her do that live, one time she went for the note, the other time you could tell that she wasn't quite vocally ready for it and she's kind of skipped out of it. I think she knows her voice and she uses her voice well. She's extremely good. Yes, people could probably name better singers, but I think she's better than most people singing for front people as bands. And personally, I love her voice. I think it's really interesting, really unique, really identifiable. Just I'm all for her voice. I think it's great. So
Sweet.
there you go. All right. Thank you. Any opinions you want to add to that? Or
no, you dodged the bullet. This is good. I can already feel weakened from my subscribers just unsubscribing from my channel right now.
Well, the next question, I'm going to put this one in next because I know that you're not so aware on the questions of the early days of like the pre-BABYMETAL, but I'm going to throw this one in because it's just another interesting question before I get onto the more BABYMETAL centric questions then. So obviously BABYMETAL came from Sakura Gakuin. I know you've covered some Sakura Gakuin like stuff before. So Moa Metal was of course also therefore a member of Sakura Gakuin. BABYMETAL was a subunit. But Moa Metal was also in two other Sakura Gakuin subunits. Can you name one of them? Any one of them? There we go. Yeah. She was in metalpati. Do you know the other one?
Oh, what was the other one? Oh, I don't know.
Twinkle Stars, apparently.
Oh, Twinkle. I wouldn't have got that one.
To be honest, I don't even think I know that one. But yeah, metalpati I know just because the hats, the chef hats, and they were like a chef
the songs for metalpati were actually pretty good.
They were pretty.
Yeah, I like them. I like metalpati.
They were cheesy as hell, but they were good. What did you think about those subunits then? If we pivot the question that way, what did you think about that whole thing of like the subunits of Sakura Gakuin?
I actually really enjoyed them. They were all kind of really vastly unique. And going back to what I was saying about like, the girls kind of going out their comfort zone and trying something new. It was nice seeing particularly like Moa and Yui going out of their comfort zones to do something kind of different and unique and a bit weird and cutesy, but at the same time, but something we've never seen them ever do since. That's the joy. Sometimes the joy and the bad side of BABYMETAL is they're in BABYMETAL, so you see them do BABYMETAL, which is fucking brilliant. But we miss out on all the other things that they can do sometimes as well.
All right, here's an additional question, because I don't know this, and I'm sure there's some people who we know will know this and are following. But like, so Black Baby Metal was a subunit of Baby Metal, which is a subunit of Sakura Gakuen. And everyone's been saying, well, what's going to happen now that Momoko's joined? Because they can't really be Black Baby Metal. Was there a subunit of Sakura Gakuen that both Moa and Momoko were in that they could resurrect? Because if they were both in Mini Patty, I am 100% for a Mini Patty revival at a Baby Metal show. I am fucking buying my tickets right now.
I actually don't know that question. Because obviously when I fell down the Sakura Gakuen hole, my focus was purely on Sue, Moa, and Yui.
Yeah.
So that was a fair couple of years ago. So obviously going to Momoko now, I haven't really kind of revisited it since. So my attention really wasn't on Momoko. But I'd love to see it. If they did bring that back though, you'd need to bring
Sorry, I just googled it. She was in Mini Patty.
She was in Mini Patty. Was she in Mini Patty with Moa though?
I don't give a shit. So, all right, we don't need Black Babe Metal. It was great. It was done. The new subgroup, Mini Patty 2.0.
If we're gonna have a Mini Patty, we need Moa, Momoko, and somebody needs to bring Ayami and have Miyami front it.
Ayami Muto.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles.
Oh my god, why can't we have Metal Patty? And they can have songs like a song, the grill song.
The grill song.
Oh my god. Let's hashtag make Metal Patty happen. Hashtag Metal Patty. Hashtag Metal Patty. Let's make it happen. I fucking want that. That sounds amazing.
Metal Patty actually sounds fucking awesome, actually, for a name.
Why is this not? If this is not a conversation that is being had, this is a conversation that needs to be had. Hashtag Metal Patty. All right. I'm going to put that on the thumbnail probably.
That might catch on.
Yeah, that is happening. All right. Okay.
All right, TRiDENT.
Anyway, next question.
TRiDENT, obviously one of your favorite bands and stuff like that, the ones you're most knowledgeable about, that I particularly, again, my knowledge of TRiDENT is, as if already wasn't evident.
You've just found out who they are.
Don't Google your answers and questions that you can ask 20 minutes prep time before going into a live video. Don't make that mistake.
All right, go for it.
That's all I'm going to say. Collabs, TRiDENT. Obviously, being a free piece, they could do collabs with various different artists or bands or singers or solo artists or something. If you could have a collab with TRiDENT with any other band, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. I think we had this conversation before about dream collabs, and some of them are difficult when it comes. I mean, like for example, I said that I feel it's very difficult for Bandmate to have a collab that I feel is worthwhile because so much about their sound is such a well-balanced, complete ecosystem, and they're already so unrestrained by genre that it's like it's very hard to think of anything. I'm sure there's going to be great ones on this upcoming collab album that they're talking about, but it's like hard to think of anything where I'm like, oh, I actually think that would be great, so much as just let's see how it goes. When it comes to TRiDENT, I guess in a way, and what I said earlier about me wanting to see them play in other genres might be an aspect. So I would be kind of interested to see them play with, I mean, for me, the best collaborations are always when you collab with someone who's way outside of your normal comfort zone, because that's when you get something kind of interesting. Yeah. So off the top of my head, the first thing I think of is I'd like to see them collabing with a band who are much more chilled or poppy. But then I'm kind of like, I don't know, would that really get the best out of TRiDENT? Because TRiDENT are the best when they're like detailed, rather than watering them down.
TRiDENT are on One OK Rock. I know you'd love it.
Well, see that I'm going to try not to lower myself to just taking the bait there. But the thing, actually, as far as I remember, I can't remember who it is. I think one of the members of, I might be wrong. I think one of the members of TRiDENT actually is a One OK Rock fan, but I don't know which one it is. I might be wrong. That might just be my paranoia. Someone tell me. But in all honesty, actually, the name that comes up, I'd like to, sorry, this is one of his left field ones, so apologies for anyone who's looking for like a really hot take here, because half of you probably won't know this one, but I would like to actually see TRiDENT do a song with someone like Ako Gorilla, who's the Japanese female rapper, incredibly high energy. She did that song with Sim, the the Castles in the Sand one, where she like so heavy rock band and her. I think the only problem with that, it was a good song, good collaboration, but I felt that like Sim didn't manage to like bring the song round. It kind of like one of those songs where it didn't really conclude very well. It was like a really good rhythm and it just kind of peters out towards the end. I would love to hear like TRiDENT, who are a band who are really good at doing concise songs where it's concise and it's punchy, but they can also deliver the rhythm and impact. I'd love to hear them do a song with Aqua Gorilla where it's like yeah, Asaka's powerful voice in the chorus and then like some bounce into some of the rhythm that TRiDENT do so well, but like a really high speed beat, then get like Aqua Gorilla using her full energy to rap over that. That would be amazing. Anyway, Zoom says we've only got 9 minutes left. I have 2 more questions for you. I don't know how many questions we got. We're gonna have to move, aren't we? You went first, so 1 for you. Okay, we've got 3 more questions. All right, so I was going to actually ask you about the song Ijime, I always pronounce it wrong, Ijime Dame Zetai, has a really strong meaning to it. Do you remember what that song is about? And just have a quick chat about the theme of that song. Do you remember? Because this is one that I think sometimes people overlook. So I'll let you know because we're running out of time. Anyway.
Yeah, go on, tell me. I feel like I should know this one. I'm singing the song in my head, trying to jog my memory of what I think it is.
When you don't know Japanese, it's going to be hard to just instantly know that. But it's a song about bullying. It's like an anti-bullying song. I just thought was a really interesting for a group.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, of course. No bullying forever. I should know that. Yeah.
For a group whose image is so usually related to like mythology and things, it was really cool to hear like such a honest, direct, real life message. So obviously you know it because you know the spoken bit, which I completely forgot about. So any thoughts on that in particular? I mean, do you think that's something they should do more of those relatable messages for like young girls or stuff, or was it just like a nice aside that maybe doesn't suit what they are moving forwards?
To be honest with you, I've got no personal opinion on this one. I always feel like no, I always feel like the song should come first and foremost. And if you want to stick a message in a song, then I'm all for it. That is purely the artist's discretion. I feel like that's one of the things that makes songs such a joy to listen to, is just like, you know, a singer or a songwriter will put their heart into it, their emotion into it, and, you know, believe what they're singing as well, like that. And that translate on a page and in a song or whatever. And if you're the audience, you're listening to it, it touches you as well. So yeah, I got no personal opinion on it. For me, it's like if they want to write, or if every BABYMETAL song had a message in it, I'd be all for it. I mean, look at some of the crazy messages, which is like, you know, stealing money out their dad's wallet and you know, buying sweets. It could be absolutely anything. And I'll be all for it. Yeah, it is like a bonus. I think maybe if I'm being like a little bit like hypercritical, I would say don't overdo it. Like having messages in your song is very, very good. Like if every song was a message, it might be a little bit, might lose its...
start to sound like one of those protest bands who no one takes seriously because all you do is just like...
Yeah. So I think messages and songs are always good. Yeah, just don't do them like literally 100% of the time, and I think that's pretty much it. To be honest,
I think you worded that perfectly though when you said the song should come first, because it's so true. Listening to Japanese music, half the time you already enjoy the song, and then someone tells you, "Hey, check out the lyrics," and it adds something to it. So yeah, I think that's I totally agree.
So, so for my last one, here we go. Google search.
Oh God. I love this. This is like you were already worried about the fact that my questions were overly trivia related, and I'd taken this way too seriously. But then on top of it, now it's like turned out that you didn't have any. Do you want me to ask one? Okay, go for it.
I got another one. TRiDENT's music, obviously very ranged. It has a range of rock, metal, all kind of like blended into it and stuff like that. I want to ask you, what do you think sets apart TRiDENT from like other bands that incorporate similar genre fusions to that?
Quite a good question. Yeah.
And how does TRiDENT's diversity separate them and contribute to their appeal?
I think we've got 2 minutes each for our questions. So concise reply. Okay. I think so. To collect a lot of the points I've discussed before, it is a lot of things because you make a good point actually that like TRiDENT are in a space. There's a lot of other bands in that space doing that kind of like, hard rock kind of sound, especially female groups. There's a lot of that. For me, things I've spoken about before, we all know the fact that every single member is a great musician but also works together well. I do think that the thing we discussed before about them being a free piece is a real attribute because it means that they can't rely on things like guitar solos that some of their peers do. They have to deliver songs where the free piece works, and then the extra sounds tend to be coloring. It's not like they don't rely on the extra sounds to make their songs work. You hear songs like Spoopy and Twinkle, which have extra sounds in there, but they're not relying on it. It's just there as coloration, coloring. So for me, it's the fact that they have space. They don't rely on just having lots of things to work on. They choose to add sounds. But to be honest, the main thing is just songwriting. And I think this connects to the three-piece thing. I don't know cause and effect, which one's the main cause of it, but the fact that they are so focused on songwriting. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have guitar solos. They're sometimes nice, but they never feel like they're relying on the guitar solo. The guitar solo never feels like something that has to be in there. It feels like every time there's a guitar solo, they choose it. Every time there's a drum fill or break, they choose it. This is probably why their songs are concise. There's never any wasted space. Everything has impact. Everything has punch. Everything is purposeful. And that's the thing for me. It's like the fact that all of their songs hit all of the time. You can get through a TRiDENT CD and there's not a wasted beat, space, air, anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that would be the reason for me. Everything just clicks, and I love concise layers and concise, just perfect. There you go. I'm going to give you your last question now. So last question comes in. This is a pure trivia one, but I'm kind of interested to see what you extrapolate from it.
Well,
so what is the only baby metal album to top the UK rock charts? Only one ever topped the UK rock charts.
The only one. Ooh. I'm going to take a wild guess here. I'm going to say it's Metal Galaxy.
You fucking legend. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I really wanted it to be Metal
number 7.
Yeah.
The other one was number 3. Resistance was number 2. And Metal Galaxy was the only one to top the charts.
Yeah, so Metal Galaxy is actually my least favorite album out of the 4 as well.
I know. That's why I thought it was an interesting bit of trivia.
The reason why I picked that is because of COVID, and I feel like the height of their popularity from Metal Resistance.
Yeah.
They were at the top then, and I just feel like many more people discovering them through YouTube and pre-COVID, and then Metal Resistance would have Metal Galaxy would have, I think, been up there in sales and stuff like that. So yeah, I can see Metal Galaxy being the top seller. Unfortunately.
I think you can often judge an album, how good an album was, on how well the album after charts. So the fact that Metal Resistance was so good is why Metal Galaxy was number 1, and why Metal Resistance itself was like really high up in the charts. But yeah, so you think it was mainly the popularity of, well, the quality of Metal Resistance that pushed it into that position?
Yeah, and also the weight as well. Obviously, the weight between Metal Resistance and Metal Galaxy, and then the obviously the UE drama as well. There was a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So I think everybody was just excited to see them back, and nobody knew quite know what was happening. I think that all played into the success. Yeah, I feel like that all played into the success. What I'm really interested in now is how the next album does, with the first one with Momoko being on there.
I think you could have a similar hype.
Yeah, I think it could be. So if I'm gonna make it like an early prediction now, I reckon that one's gonna be up there as well. And it wouldn't surprise me.
I think so as well. And I think they've built up the hype brilliantly. So I totally agree. Anyway, we've got 35 seconds left. This was really fun. If people want us to do more, we can do more trivia where I can ask more questions about
bands I actually know.
Bands. Yeah, and then So if you want more of us, let us know, and we'll definitely deliver. We enjoyed this. There's only 15 seconds left, so we're going to tell you, get in the comments, tell us what you knew, what questions you understood, or anything like that, blah, blah, blah. And remember to keep your ears to the east.
I'm gonna go and retire now. Yeah, fuck you.
Go learn about TRiDENT.